So on a beautiful day, the fourth and final quarter-final is underway off the Buddha Bridge. They played here only 6 weeks ago. It doesn't seem that long, but Manly defeated Sydney City 34-6. We had a contest up until half-time that night. Jolting stuff by Manly in the initial tackles.
And involved there was David Gillespie. He's the player that Bob Fulton has brought into the side. Cunningham will go back to lock forward. Lyons on the bench. Big cement Gillespie starting the game, which he will love it.
This is Lyra. Valuable player. Did time with Manly. Fittler's kick. First of the game at the end of the first set of 6. John Hopewadi exhibiting his strength, and eventually, I was going to say they put him down, but they didn't. Sedaris has been in good form. Daniel Gardner. Second man play, finding Menzies. Stephen Menzies just outside the 30-metre line, and Carroll gets back and winds it up. Best defensive record in rugby league since St George in 1966 is the way the statisticians have got it for Manly in 1996. And keep in mind, they've done that under the 10-metre rule. Penalty against Manly inside the 10. First penalty of the game goes to Sydney City. I think a lot of stories about eastern suburbs or Sydney City injury-wise have not yet been told. They'll come out when they leave this competition.
It will be very interesting to see this set of 6 as Sean Garlick, their captain, looks on. Whether Adrian Lamb will get into that dummy half position, as Steve Roach has pointed out. If they do, it takes away a fair bit of their attack, not having him as the first receiver. That's Smith.
James Smith picked up. Referee McBlade was quite happy with the tackle. Lamb switches it from the left to the right. For Fittler to kick. Walker to chase. Turning them round. Danny Moore and Matthew Ridge in a foot race now. And Moore it is that cleans it up. Back in the members' stand corner.
Yeah, that's a tactic worth a try early in the tackle count, only the 3rd tackle. And I've seen them do it before with some success. Going to the line, Brad Fittler, bringing up the Manly defence and nearly catching Matthew Ridge out. They handle it pretty easily in the end.
And if they don't score points from it, the success also is the fact that it puts the defence in 2 minds. They won't be rushing up as quickly. There are 2 of the star players for the Roosters out for the season, Terry Hermanson and Jason Lowry, both breaking their arms. And the big test for the Roosters this afternoon will be their go forward, especially out of their own danger area. Such a big role to be played by James Smith, Julian Troy, Dunn and Madison off the bench.
Cleary it is. Just outside the 30-metre line. This is Troy. Caught a glimpse of him on the final Monday night match. He was most impressive. Lamb then, a dummy twice and picking up the 3rd man, and now it's out with Matt Singh, and Singh is put away just inside the 20-metre line. Now, good surge, hard work there from James Smith. Long ball for Fittler. Around the back of Walker, picking up Cleary. Cleary then on 5. Romero for the kick. Fittler's boot. That looks a mile too big. Out on the full, it comes back to the middle of the 20-metre line for the restart.
That's a very poor kick under any circumstances, but especially early in a quarter-final where you're trying to maintain pressure. Good pressure going through on the kicker. Sprague is called in to take some pressure off his forwards. And Sedaris now finds Owen Cunningham on the short side of the ruck. Strong tackle from Millard. Millard's in 15, Smith is in 16.
This is Gillespie looking around the corner to offload if he can, something that I think he's developed more in his career at Manly than anywhere else. A player that has given great service to Canterbury and Western Suburbs as his team now gets a penalty. Cliff Lyons on the bench. Being used today as an impact player. Nick Kosef starting the match at 5'8". Back on that injury toll for Sydney City, Ricketson, Lamb and Fittler. Day-to-day propositions. Many stories around about the treatment they've undergone. Now, Gardner, Sidaris and Tuvey. Tuvey, a cutout pass for Hill. Hill tries to get around Walker. Walker pulls him down 35 metres away from the Sydney City line. Tuvey, he finds both markers going the same way. Then they come across and pick him up. 25 out, Sidaris. Then Kosef. Now Carroll straight to the 20-metre line. Troy around the legs. Millard over the top. Then Sidaris. Now the last. Kosef on. Ridge with the kick. A grubbing kick. Looking for the left winger. Manly's coming quickly, but it beats them to the line. And on top of that, Darren Juney was in front of them all.
Well, it's become a very important tactic, hasn't it? Especially in semi-finals. Lots of tries scored from kicks. There was one little chance there for Manly, but the Roosters now getting out from their own 20-metre zone. So far, they varied their passing game, the Roosters. Lots of wide passes and a few short passes as well, especially Millard throwing a couple going to the line, and that's the way to beat Manly, is to vary your passing game in the angles of running.
Tackle by Menzies on Regon, and it brought a pat on the back for the Manly second rower. Lamb at dummy half, and then Iro trying to get his arms free. They're interchanging a dummy half, Lamb and Millard. The kick by Fittler off the outside edge, but it takes a favourable bounce for a scrum to restart 35 metres away from the Manly line. They'll have the loose head and feed. Steve Roach with a comment on the sideline.
Yeah, it's an interesting one that, Ray, when the Sydney City side are coming out of trouble, Lamb does play in the dummy half area. When they get in the attacking zone, he moves out to first receiver, so a good ploy there from Phil Gould.
Tuvey, I noticed, with that right thigh encased in the elastic strapping. Witness has done well. Now Danny Moore. And Moore is pulled down a couple of metres on his own side of the halfway. Tuvey a dummy half, and Kosef wants it. He's with it. Then a cutout pass across, finding Hill. Walker's right up on top of Hill. He's in his face. And a penalty goes to Manly.
Bit of possession starting to go Manly's way now, and that's when they're dangerous. They can put together a couple of sets of 6 in a row, this time courtesy of a penalty, and Matthew Ridge finds touch about 35 metres out from their opponent's line. I do think Andrew Walker is the man they will target in the defensive line. Carroll takes it forward, taken by Troy.
You know, love or hate Manly, you've got to admire their record. They've only missed the playoffs 3 times in the last 16 seasons, and that's very hard to beat. Daniel Gardner looked like he might have got one across the chin there from Regon. Manly now. They're just 20 metres out from the line. Menzies. Now Hill. Walker's got him. He got the pass away for Hopewadi, who is strong. And he's over. Hopewadi scores. Walker did his job. But Hill was able to get it away to young John Hopewadi.
He's really found some form late in the season. Hopewadi scored 4 tries last week. Menzies patrolling out in the back line as he likes to do. The problem was that Andrew Walker couldn't stop the pass being thrown. One-on-one, Terry Hill very strong. So too Hopewadi. But really Andrew Walker had to stop the football being thrown.
Well, the Roosters have got to start marking up. They're allowing the Manly outside backs to get on the outside of their defence. And if they do that, there'll be trouble all day. And that's why that try was scored. Walker allowing Terry Hill too much room to move. And Hopewadi's got brute strength. And Ivan Cleary couldn't match it with him.
Yeah, good leg drive there from Hopewati. He'd have had a disappointing season up until the last couple of weeks. Hasn't been able to break into the top grade. That is another indication of the depth at the Manly club, that a player like Hopewati was running around in the reserves. Matthew Ridge now looking to make 4 into 6. He's missed.
So Manly leading over Sydney City. 10 minutes gone in the game. That's when the try came for John Hopewati. With the restart there. Tierney. Gillespie. Tierney again now for Manly. 41 metres away from the Manly line. This is Jeff Tuvey. Penalty goes to Manly now.
And a shake of the head there from Brad Fittler. Possession still going against them. Penalties now 3-1 against his team. And at half-time, to be successful against Manly and maybe have a lead, you've got to have had more possession. At the moment, that's not going to be the case for the Tricolours. They've got to muscle up in defence now because Manly's starting to get some momentum.
Gillespie. Now for Kosef. And then for Tuvey as Manly swinging along the line through the hands. Menzies out wide. Carroll off the field. I saw him getting some running repairs. What's the story, Steve?
He's having problems with his contact lenses again. He always seems to be in trouble with those.
Sodara's there. A dummy half scamper. Ridge is there in support. Floats the pass over for Cunningham. And Cunningham is 25 metres away from the Sydney City line. Hill a dummy half. Kosef away. Ridge with it. Passes on for Menzies. Menzies stabs it. Turning Junie around. Junie's on his own line. Here's the defence. And they pick him up and drive him back.
Well, you're looking at one of the best defensive centres I've ever seen in Craig Innes. He's very powerful. From a Kiwi player. And Junie, he's pretty strong himself, but look at this. Danny Moore, actually, it was, along with Innes, driving back.
Yeah, Darren Junie was a little bit upright when he ran the ball out. That gave both the defenders a good chance to get in under the ribs and pick him up. Mark Carroll now keen to get back into the action, but just sits back down. The wealth of front rowers in this Manly lineup. Tierney's had a marvellous season since changing clubs. Walker now picks up 45 on the fly before Danny Moore picks it up on about the third.
Oh, Danny Moore, an embarrassing mistake. Originally it came off the toes, but then off the fingers. Matthew Ridge runs over to pick him up.
He's had a good year too, Danny Moore, since switching from the centres to the wing. One thing about his game, he's got that odd mistake, which you saw right there in his game. It's always been there. Lack of concentration from Pickamore.
I think the taller you are, the harder it gets to get down low. Paul Hoff would know what we're talking about. As Fittler turns it in for Regan. Centre of the ground. Lamb then away to the left, and Dunn is on now. And Paul Dunn met by the Manly reception committee. James Smith. Gillespie has pulled off some big tackles in the opening minutes. Fittler now down the blind side. He goes for a second man play, picks up Iro. Iro is tackled just outside the 20-metre line. This is the last. The kick is coming. And it's Adrian Lamb who puts it up and across the field. They look onside to me. Touch judge agrees, and Ridge goes above the pack.
Great take from Matthew Ridge, but problems for the Roosters in back play with Matt Singh down. Two trainers out as Hopewati taken high by Brad Fittler. Matt Singh in some trouble. They cannot afford to lose a player like Matt Singh with the problems that they have, and now McLean ceases play with Singh being taken from the field.
I think it came from the Fittler cut-out pass to Iro, and Singh ran through as a decoy. I don't know if he was taken out. Fittler might be saying that.
Seemed to clutch himself around his stomach area.
Well, I know, Pete, he's had some groin problems, Matt Singh, but it would appear it's maybe a heavy knock. Here he comes through as the decoy there. Not much in it. No, it's got to be his groin that's playing up, that's for sure.
He's a fairly forlorn sight, Matt Singh, and just looking at him you would think that the odds of him coming back are rather remote. As Big Gillespie puts his frame on the line again. Kossev running away as a decoy as a pass goes high for Ridge, who wouldn't like to get a pass like that when the kick has to be performed. And Cleary it is, who left Manly really because of Matthew Ridge.
It's Peter Clark out there now, prolific try scorer for the Roosters this season. Stay in the starting lineup, gets a chance now. It's appears though he'll be out there for the duration. Adrian Lamb finding Luke Ricketson, takes it over the halfway line.
Back on the right, Millard. Put down on the 40-metre line, Manly with the first try. It came after 9 minutes, I'm told, officially. As Fittler rolls it down for Ridge, who looks at Danny Moore and then gives it to him.
Well, forget about not siding Matt Singh again. Reports are that he's only winded, so he should be back on fairly shortly. Sean Garlick has gone on now, the captain of the Roosters. And that will definitely tighten things up around the ruck area. Great defender, especially low.
Ooh, Garlick went in with a swinging arm in the tackle to the head of Owen Cunningham. Cunningham didn't like it. He just gave him a little warning on the run. Now Menzies plays it back for Sidaris. Carroll takes it ahead, almost to the halfway line. 5 metres from it, in fact. Manly leading 4-0. 5 tackles, Tuvey. Ridge for the kick. Cleary returning it. Sidaris picks him up and drives him.
Because Matthew Ridge is a penalty now gone to the Roosters, laying around the play the ball, Jim Sidaris. Because Ridge stands up in the attacking line to kick the football, it gives them the option of running the ball on the 5th. And just from watching the defensive pattern of the Roosters, it's only a matter of time before they do that, because they've had the numbers every time that Ridge has come up to kick the ball.
I actually thought when Steve Menzies kicked the ball earlier, when Darren Junee got driven back into the line, that was a perfect opportunity. They had something like 6 players against 2. Menzies opted to kick the football.
James Smith. Just on that kicking of Ridge, he's standing up in the line at around about 5/8 or inside centre. It's also giving them some more distance off his boot. Rather than going back to a fullback to kick, he's up in the line. And it's adding about 5 or 6 metres to his distance. Regon. Lamb. Smith. Did well, James Smith, and then Adrian Lamb tries to get an opening. Cleary is there. Feigns a flick pass. Takes the tackle. 10 metres out. Lamb. Long pass. That is a beauty. Then Walker. Now Clark. And Clark is pulled down. Great tackle there by Terry Hill. Walker goes to the air. It's a great kick. Up they go. Down they come, Manly. They have forced it. No offside in goal.
Yeah, Danny Moore had it, dropped it and regathered it. If there had been some more Roosters around, it could have possibly been a try. He goes for it. Ivan Cleary went up with him. And Moore regathers.
Right paw. Danny Moore was the contributor on both occasions. Lions to come on. Gillespie coming off. Just for a moment, I thought you might have, like I did, thought that somebody in an offside position had fallen on it. But you can't be offside on your own in goal. The only penalty you can give is for deliberately throwing the ball forward.
Matt Singh back on for the Roosters now.
So against this rather patched up Sydney City side. Manly at the quarter-way mark, leading by 4 points to 0 with Paul Dunn 25 away from the Manly line. Lamb, Fittler, the run round, the dummy, and then Ferreiro with the arms up, holding it in two hands, trying to keep them guessing. Garlick away at 45 degrees and then swatted by Carroll. 18 out from the line for Fittler to take it ahead to the line. Then Dunn got rid of Toby, goes for the line, but he's short on 5. Garlick, one decoy on the bounce for Lamb, then across for Ricketson it is. And that is the turnover.
Oh, that's a shame. They're playing pretty well, the Roosters, in this first 20 minutes. That was a waste. Just wondering, good run by Cunningham. Just wondering about Brad Fittler. I don't know if he's that fit out there. There's been a couple of chances he could have stepped. Gartner goes through.
Daniel Gartner.
A couple of chances Fittler could have stepped and he hasn't. He must be worried about his groin injury.
Menzies. It's an interesting story about Fittler, unconfirmed, is that he had general anaesthetic to have the groin muscle stretched to try and get him through to the end of the year. And these are some of the things, the off-field dramas that we don't read about every day. But this Sydney City side has been under enormous pressure to keep as many stars on the field as they have. Here's Hopewadi, centre kick. Finding touch. I'm wondering whether it got a hand from Sydney City. I just thought John Hopewadi's kick may have touched a hand. I might be wrong. That hand of the number 5 player, Peter Jorgensen, it appears I'm wrong. Yeah, and it'll come out to the 20-metre line, which it does for the restart.
A little bit of a problem for Terry Hill. Limping now, he's actually going to leave the field. Very good tackle on him by Peter Clark. He was slow to play the football, and then the good option from the Seagulls down the short side. Plenty of walking wounded out there at the moment. And Desi Hasler, in fact, it's Jack Elsgood. Come on.
Walker. In front. Beautiful kicker of the ball. Elsgood has gone back to pick it up. He's on his own line. Comes out of the shadow. Oh! Clark and Ricketson come here. Got this.
Nice first touch. Danny Moore up the middle.
Sadara's there, going across his 20-metre line. Turned it back inside for Daniel Gartner. Then the 17 wraps him up. Madison. Bit high, says Gartner. Referee doesn't want to know about it. Menzies. One-hander back for Sadaris. Pushes away. Underneath another. Now, the referee is going to penalise.
Well, Tim Sadaris is copping it from all angles. He copped one from Madison. He looked at the touch judge and blew up. And he's got the ball with about 4 Roosters around him. Ducked under one, and then Iro came with a beauty.
I think he's got a target painted up there somewhere.
It's a big red spot.
Wouldn't be hard to hit you then.
And he tried, Rabs.
Very nice, Ray. Very nice. So there's the first one. Madison swinging. He'll cop another one in a second. There it is over the drop from Iro. And he's still looking at the sideline. Jeff Tuvey's blowing up as well. Eventually McLean pulls up proceedings to give Manly the penalty.
The caption above Jim Sadaris. How many more are they going to hit me with? Can you put a standing count on me? Carroll plays it now. 38 metres out from the Roosters line. Kosev. Kosev back in the forwards naturally with Lyons on the park. And here's another penalty. It's gone the other way.
Yeah, it's a good call. Nick Kosev grabbed the foot of the Eastern Suburbs defender. He really did try and milk a penalty. And that's good to see the referee not being fooled. He was held down for quite a while, but he has every chance to get up there, but he deliberately grabs on to Sean Garlick.
4-3 the penalty. Manly enjoying just a fraction the better of that. Madison held there by Sadaris and Gartner, and then Owen Cunningham Launched in with the third tackle. Garlick. And then done a dummy half using Fittler. Fittler. Lamb. Behind Iro. Cleary. Singh. And Innes went high. He finally has arrested the young centre. Lamb. Short pass. Oh, Ricketson was on the end of the perler from Carroll. This is the last. Now Fittler. He rolls it in. Oh, it's a mile too deep from Brad. 4 points to 0 then. Manly over Sydney City.
Because the new day.
Daris away from the 20-metre line. Hopewadi scored the try. This is him with the ball. Scored the try at the 9th minute of the game. That's all there's been. And I think a lot of the pundits were thinking Manly. Here's a chance. Gardner supported by Tuvey. Tuvey put over by Walker. Penalty to Manly.
Well, if Steve Menzies isn't running at you, then Daniel Gardner is. Got a great step on him, Daniel Gardner. One of the heroes of the Manly side in 1996. He set up Jeff Tuvey for a little run there.
I've got to say, I think Daniel Gardner is the equivalent of Steve Menzies in just about all departments now. He came up with the... I thought there was a touch of forward in that, the pass to Tuvey. But Daniel Gardner came up with the important tackle at the other end of the field not long ago on Brad Fittler when he looked like sliding through.
It was a poor attempt at tackle on Gardner there, and Brad Fittler was one of the players involved. Terry Hill doing some work on his left ankle there from the physio.
Ridge, centre of the 40-metre line. It's got the height and it's got the length, and 2 points there for Manly. 6 points to 0. Manly over Sydney City, 4th quarter final. The Qantas final series of the Optus Cup. Steve Roach, an absorbing game.
Yeah, it certainly is. I just think that the Manly side are making far too many breaks in the middle of the ruck. They look like they're really steamrolling this Eastern Suburbs pack at the moment.
Well, territory-wise, it's been all the Roosters. They've been down camped in the Manly quarter for quite a while. They just couldn't get through.
And when that turns around, we'll see Manly run in the points. The only time the Roosters are really putting any pressure on the Manly defence is when the likes of Fittler, Regon and Millard go to the line, James Smith as well, and look to offload. Mark Carroll, strong charge, 18 metres out. No problems in defence for Manly, and that's once again what they've based this performance on.
Owen Cunningham playing in possibly his 3rd last game for Manly. OJ down for the Cowboys. A break made by Jim Sedaris. Continuing his good form. Form that he lost, really, last season. Ridge. Monstered there by Dunn. 5th tackle. Menzies. Lyons. And he just stabs it across the sideline at the junction of the 20-metre line. Carroll's off again. Troy back on for the Roosters. Madison is off. 6-0 Manly. Junie. Fittler. Jorgensen, is it? They are very good wingers, Jorgensen and Junie. And really, I don't think they have involved themselves as much as they could have in this match so far. Given that we've outlined some of the problems that Lamb and Ricketson and Fittler have got. Maybe they're playing to instructions, but coming off your own line, that's where they should be. They're fast and they're quick out of dummy half. John Hopewadi there. He and Danny Moore No, he and Jack Elsgood have swapped wings.
But when Terry Hill went off, Danny Moore went back to his old position of right centre with Elsgood on that wing. Hopewell simply swapped wings over to the left wing.
He knows them like the back of his hand, the fat man. Nothing Manly does that he doesn't know about. Well, the 19 can do almost anything, but when it comes to Manly, he's got them spot on. Play by Cunningham. And now for Ridge. And he finds the line. I was wondering whether these tactics are the tactics for the moment as the coach refreshes. Last 10 minutes of the first half, and probably some players starting to feel the pinch. And rolling it over the sideline, I'm wondering whether it's not giving Sydney City a chance just to reorganise.
I did think that Matthew Ridge didn't hit that kick as well as he would have liked to. It just came off the side of his boot, which is very rare for a kicker of his quality. Took it further over to Jorgensen's wing than maybe he would have liked. As the Roosters win the scrum, that's Jorgensen now tackled 31 out, and I agree with you, Ray. I think both he and Darren Junior have got to get in and have a lot of touches at the football this afternoon.
Peter Clark, brother of Paul Clark. Paul said, please give me one mention through the series. Well, there it is, Nobby. Sons of Nobby Clark Sr., in fact. Dunn away for Lamb, who tried to get it away, but Crosshairs beat him to the punch. Fittler waiting it down into the end goal. No sign of a chase from Fittler. There was a chase from his other colleagues, but now John Hopewadi. Oh, look at Hopewadi. Ridge has gone over the dead ball line. It's the same result. But what about Hoppy? He refused to lie down.
Yeah, you wouldn't recommend the final result, passing the football deep in your own end goal. And Matthew Ridge is also covered. It's a good chase, 3 of them down there, but he's so strong, this bloke. He's one of the strongest at the club. And then at the end of it, he says, oh, what will I do here? I might just throw a pass. Who's around? And Ridge said, thanks very much, Hopper.
The line dropper. Ridge's kick. It's got the impression if there is a breeze, it's against Manly in the first 40 minutes. I'll just check that with Steve in a moment. Ooh, Garlick was buckled over. Gartner and Cunningham, they got him. And then Lamb goes across and finds Peter Clark, and another good tackle by Manly. Sedaris and Kosef. Troy gets it away for his captain, and now for Dunn. Dunn running straight up the centre. 10 metres out. Half-time not far away. Oh! Andrew Walker ran into the brick wall of Menzies.
And referee McLean has actually called out the Manly plays, called out Cliff Lyons. There's a bit of drama, a bit of push and shove. Now the touch judges come in to report something as well.
Yeah, John Hopewadi is claiming that Andrew Walker is putting the knees into Steve Menzies, who was still lying on the ground. I don't think there's any doubt it'll go Roosters' way to start off with. I can't see anything there.
Oh, well, he's called out Cliff Lyons, surely not for that tackle. He's not oh, that'll do me.
That's what Hopewadi was blowing up about, the fact that Walker just hovered with the knees above.
Well, what's the penalty for?
A high tackle on Cliff Lyons, can you believe?
A high tackle on Cliff Lyons? Well, what are they doing taking the kick?
No, a high tackle by Cliff Lyons.
Oh, high tackle by Cliff Lyons. Well, he's got to be kidding.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It was a ball and all tackle from Cliff.
Anyway, it's been given. Just under 6 minutes of the first half remaining. And Ivan Cleary with his first attempt of the day. 168 points for the season. second only behind Jason Taylor, but Taylor has put a very big space between himself and the others, with another bag of 9 points last night. Here's Cleary, and he's put it straight between the posts. Makes it more respectable. 6 points to 2. Manly over Sydney City. 34 gone. Slowly back for the restart. Under 5 to go. Straight down to the fullback, and he sends this enthusiastic youngster Julian Troy back to them. And his first grade run on debut last week. Julian Troy. And what breeze there is apparently has swung around since we've started. Steve, what is the story with it? Is there some wind assistance down there?
Yeah, it's really freshened up here in the first half, and it will be in favour of Manly in the second half.
It's coming from left to right across the screen. 6 points to 2, with a scrum to restart 25 metres out as 14 goes on for Sydney City. Shane Regan.
Rygon.
Regoni.
I think they're entitled to be quite happy with their first half. The Roosters, they're at 6-2, they're down, that's for sure. But whilst they haven't troubled the Manly defence too much, they've been down there, and it's only a matter of time, they would think, before the Manly defence cracked. It's a matter of coming up with the right tactic of getting through it.
No, I think it's going to be the other way, Paul. I think that Manly are in cruise control as they go wide to Jack Elsgood. He steps back inside, beats a couple, now beats Cleary, and loses the football eventually.
Well, Andrew Walker didn't realise that he had dispossessed Jack Elsgood of the football, and then has performed a mighty tackle on him.
Well, a good chance here with only 3 minutes left on the clock for the Sydney City Roosters. I was about to say that I think Manly, as Walker comes up with a strong tackle, realise they're going to get good field position and good ball control at some stage during this match, and that's when they'll really put some pressure on. At the moment, they're just coasting along. Walker gets an offload, takes it inside the 20.
Juni to ruck half. Regon. 11 out from the line. Starting to use the field. Lamb! 5 metres away. Less than that. Now a penalty. Penalty to Roosters.
Well, what's happened here? It didn't even look as though he played the ball. The referee saying that Matthew Ridge was instrumental in that, not letting Lamb play it. He's looking dangerous, Lamb, running through these big forwards. Forwards getting tired late in the first half. There's still drama here. McLean telling Jeff Turvey to get back.
Well, it's a very interesting set of circumstances, because what you've got to go in favour of the defensive player to some degree is that there's only so much that he can do to get off a player quickly. The emphasis on the quick play of the ball is so strong these days. Now, Matthew Ridge is on top. I just don't know if there's much else that he can do there.
Adrian Lamb's entitled just to stand up and play the football. So the penalty's gone the other way.
Even some penalties that we see for players lying around in the play the ball area, you know, at times they get penalised when they've got no time to get out at all.
So having dissected that, we come back to reality. And Ivan Cleary has been given a presentation two-pointer right on half-time. Makes no mistakes, and you wouldn't expect that he would. 6 points to 4. Let's look at it again. Adrian Lamb has tackled. The man over the top is Matthew Ridge, entitled to be there. He gets pushed away by one of the other Rooster players.
I don't think Adrian Lamb's made any attempt to stand up and play the football at all.
rule simply says that Matthew Ridge will roll away as quickly as possible from making a tackle. And he couldn't have done much more than he did, given that he was getting a helping hand into the bargain. I would trust that that 2 points doesn't come back to be the focal point of after-match discussion. Troy plays it. There's the siren. It is halftime. So just the one try to Manly, scored by John Hopewadi after 9 minutes of the fourth quarter final, and they lead Sydney City Roosters 6-4. That is halftime. We're back with you in just a moment.
One of the greats. You're looking at a living legend right there.
As Walker goes into the second half with the start. Will Manly do what they did in round 16? Gardner. To the left now for Kosef. And Innes getting underneath the tackle from Singh. Daniel Gardner is to his feet very slowly. He's got a problem. The star back rower for Manly. Cunningham now on the Roosters 40-metre line. Ridge putting in the kick down into the corner for Jorgensen. Jorgensen managing to get it back 15 metres from his own line. Inside the 10 against Manly. Penalty goes to the Roosters. And this will come in handy. We'll see them start their next set of 6 fractionally into Manly's territory. Go to Steve Roach in just a moment. We'll watch this set of 6. Lamb. Troy offloading for Lamb. I can't believe some of the things that Julian Troy is able to do, given that he's had about 5 minutes first-grade experience. Paul Dunn. From him, yes, you'd expect it, but not from Julian Troy. Iro. Phil Gould tells us that in the good things they've done, when they've done them, Iro's been there and done some of it for them. So here's no markers for Manly. Ricketson surges to 2 metres from the line early in the second half. Lamb kicks. The jump is all important. There it comes out the back. And 6 more tackles. Manly's in a bit of trouble here. Done. Garlick spins it away for Lamb. 2 decoy runners and then Walker. Walker can't get a clean ball away and Elstgood comes down with it.
Oh, Walker nearly got through the line. You could see support coming and desperate to throw a pass as Kosef offloads. Chance for Manly now. Gardner takes it out and goes through.
He's made a speedy recovery. Daniel Gardner now. Manly gets the penalty. A match that has been punctuated by players on and off with injury. Steve Roach, let's go to him now. Steve.
Well, as you can see, Terry Hill won't be back for the remainder of the game. Bob Foote was pretty happy with the first half performance. He said, let's keep going through the middle. There's plenty of bus there. And when we do go to the fringe of the ruck, let's have plenty of support there because there's a lot of low tacklers in the Sydney City side. He said, let's keep the ball in play when we do kick deep because the Sydney City side are looking very tired. For Sydney City, Phil Gould was pretty happy. He's told his blokes well done in the first half. He reminded them that in the game in the last round when they played Manly, they were in it at half time, and the game still has got 40 minutes to go. He said, don't give away silly penalties, just giving them cheap possession. He said, a few more decoys out wide and turn it on the inside as much as you can.
Steve Roach then with his halftime report. Lions deftly putting it over. He's looking for Hopewadi, and it's been with the Roosters that it's gone over the sideline.
And that's a perfect kick. putting the ball that close to the sideline that the man has to play at it. And he's got all sorts of problems if he does, because there's no way that he's going to be able to stay in field. Ivan Cleary, he couldn't allow the ball to try and go over the sideline because Hopewadi and Cunningham were arriving. Now we've got the touch judge coming in, coming all the way across the other side of the field. Interesting to see what the report will be here.
Peter Clark is the man that is being admonished. And a penalty goes to Manly.
Another holding penalty. You see the pass to Menzies, and he's held on to Danny Moore. And then the referee has played advantage. The touch judge has come in. I'm a little bit surprised here. I thought that Matthew Ridge may have had a shot at goal, but didn't keep the pressure on with 6 attacks.
Carroll sent ahead to lay the first bricks in this foundation for the attack. They go across the line. Gardner turns it in. Lions can't get it cleanly. Everything was knocked backwards though, and Manly continue with their attack. Ridge accepted and put away. Sedaris. Kosef. Sedaris. Tuvi. Menzies. 12 metres out from the line. Manly by 2. Kosef again. Lions outside. He's with it now. Holds it back and gets in between them and is pulled out. I thought he was home, Cliffy Lyons. A penalty has gone to Manly.
Well, somehow Tony Iro hung on to the back of Cliff Lyons and now has got 10 minutes for not allowing Lyons to get up and play it. A professional foul. They take the tap.
Lyons then looking to throw the big ball. He decides to go back to the middle and picks up Cunningham. OJ is 8 metres out from the line. Sedaris gets it away miraculously.
Oh, tackle.
Great tackle by the Sydney City Roosters fullback, Tuvi. He's been swamped and put away again by Ivan Cleary. Sedaris and then Carroll. Put down by Ricketson. Sedaris again for Lyon. And now for Menzies. Menzies is over. It all got too much for the Sydney City side. Some gallant work out there by Cleary. But eventually, the Cliffy Lions play. And Steve Menzies finished it off.
And that was Tony Iro coming up with the tackle, but then pulling Cliff Lyons back down. The referee deemed it to be serious enough to get 10 in the bin. And against 12 men, the Seagulls were always going to put on a try. But again, it took some brilliant sleight of hand from Cliff Lyons, putting the ball in behind him. He frees it there. You can see that Peter Clark, he had this man to cope with, and the try scorer on the inside. He got caught in no man's land. He looked like he was covered, Steve Menzies, but Brad Fittler fell off the tackle. The legs kept driving, and the combination of Lyons and Menzies again proves fruitful.
Yeah, the Cliff Lyons show starting to unleash here. I reckon that Tony Iro was hard done by. There's the shot at goal.
And the kick off to the right. 10 points to 4 Manly now. Early days in the second half. Ever so slowly. Bringing it back to halfway. Walker's kick off. And bringing it back is Big Carroll. Menzies coming down the left of the ground.
Well, I agree with you, Paul, concerning the Tony Iro sin binning. I think there's been a couple of tough calls and dubious calls in this game. Definitely question marks about the 4 points that the Roosters got in the first half with those 2 penalties, the high tackle against Lions, and a very tough call there, I thought, on Tony Iro. this whole game could be determined in the next 8 or 9 minutes.
Sean Garlick is out there only as captain. It's a warning to the entire team for this indiscretion, which I think was performed by Darren Junee. And referee McLean is telling the captain of Sydney City to get away from the man playing the ball, otherwise there'll be more in the sin bin. Lions holding it back, jinking. Just inside the 40-metre line. Sidaris. And then Kosef. Daniel Gartner. At 28 metres away from the Roosters line and looking for more points while the opposition are down to 12 men. Lions. Menzies outside him as a decoy. Ridge came in, then Innes, and now to the corner, but he's not going to make it, was Hopewadi. Play on. Ball was flung back in field.
Just a simple second man play there by Manly, but when you're up against a shortened defensive line, even more effective. Matthew Ridge is getting involved from the full-back position. Strong tackle from Brad Fittler on Hopewadi, who threw the ball back inside, hoping to find a support player.
Interesting to note that Junee and Jorgensen put runs back-to-back then. Clark plays it. Walker gets his kick in before Tuvey tries to pull off a charge down. Manly back within us inside their own in goal. Good chase by Junee and Walker. Paul Dunn prepares to come back on. Elsgood, just inside his own 10-metre line. Regan is back on in 14. Ridge. 51 and a half gone now. 10-4 Manly. Converted try in front. Lyons and Kosef. And Kosef pulled down by Matt Singh. Innes. Lyons. Gartner inside. Millard making the tackle. Keep coming though. They're there supporting, they're keen. And Ridge's kick has sent the Roosters back to their own in goal. Jorgensen.
Well, that's safety first football there from Matthew Ridge. And once again he had an overlap on the outside as he was in that attacking line, but decided to put the kick in, making the Roosters work hard in their own quarter. It's man in defence, it's lifted.
Regon. Fittler. A couple of things today haven't worked for Brad Fittler. Junee. Clear off the boot of Walker. It's going to find touch. It's a fine kick.
Oh, what a kicker of the football Andrew Walker is. He gets enormous distance. Didn't seem to put that much effort into it, but the timing is there. Good follow through. And that time the bounce was a favourable one. He's also very good at eating up the yards. He doesn't kick from that deep if he can run towards the line, although that time there was a little bit of pressure coming through, but he still picked up an extra couple of metres with his run before putting boot to ball.
Millard leaving the field as Madison goes back on.
Well, we've got Peter Jorgensen going into the second row. So no blindside winger.
As Danny Moore reaches his own 20-metre line. Tuvey thinking about coming down that right-hand side, knowing that the winger actually had made up the 6 in the forwards. Chance now for the Roosters. Coming up with quick possession from the turnover. The unexpected turnover. And Walker. Madison. 2 minutes left in the sin bin for Tony Iro, and the penalty goes to Sydney City.
Yeah, for Jim Sedaris raking the ball out of Tim Madison's hands. 10-4, you would think that Ivan Cleary will take the kick at goal, and that's what Sean Garlick points at. There's Sedaris taking him on, pulls at the football, out it comes, and that's the penalty.
You still can't believe that players do this. I mean, maybe if you and I were playing, we'd be no different, but honestly, right in front of your own sticks and the referee's standing right next to you.
Cleary. The lone scorer of points. 31,000 people here today. As Ivan Cleary prepares to bring it back to the 4-point margin. And he's done it again. So Cleary has scored all the points for the Roosters. Iro comes out of the bin. Manly by 4. Overtime. Carroll comes off with Cunningham. This is Madison. Garlick, 12 metres away from his own line. Roosters bringing it away. And the initial set of 6 tackles since the Ivan Cleary goal. Manly with a moral victory in their minds. 2 tries. The Roosters unable to get the ball over the line, but they're only trailing by 4. So we've still got a football match here. Oh, that's an awful pass. Moore is in the end goal, and I don't think he's going anywhere. He's not.
John Hovawati, he's missed his support player by 10 yards. Hands on head's all right.
Oh, he's had a brain explosion. Fair dinkum. What about that one? Winding up. I've got support. Oh, Nelly. Get that India. And the Roosters now, they'll get the ball back from this dropout.
Good to see Jim Sedaris go across and say, well, hang on, don't worry about it. Let's just get our defence set. Jorgensen, Peter Clark, they all swooped. Andrew Walker was there as well. Danny Moore never a chance to get back in. The drop goal is a high one and a good one because it's gone 45. The tackle will be made around the 30-metre line.
On Cleary. Garlick then. Paul Dunn upended by Sedaris and held down by Tierney. Lamb, Fittler, infield pass, picking up Regan. Penalty goes again to the Roosters. This is the sin bin on Tierney, I think it is. Neil Tierney has been sent to the bin. So Manly goes back to 12 as the Roosters come back to 13. And the scoreboard should come to 10 points to 8.
And that's repeated infringements, sin binning, not just on that man, but the team in general. And Jeff Tuvey, again, has come up and questioned that. He did so at the other end of the field when Matthew Ridge was penalised earlier in the game. I don't know. As I pointed out, I think there's been some dubious decisions given in this game, and we've seen points scored from them.
There's been 16 penalties. I reckon you could have let 4 or 5 of them go and just let play go on.
Tuvey when he warned Sean Garlick about repeated infringements in to play the ball. He should have extended the same warning to Jeff Tuvey, because that's what he's got them for unnecessary second tackle, delaying the play the ball. Cleary gets another 2 points. The Roosters, they're not crowing yet, but they're getting awfully close to it. 10 points to 8 down.
Well, win or lose today, the Sydney City side have been very, very strong, and you can't pay enough credit to one player, Brad Fittler. He's been great out there. There's Bozo. Won't be too happy with the penalties going against them, but Fittler's as far as a player goes, he's a V8, and he's battling away on about 5 cylinders today.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Jim Dimmock for Parramatta this season, isn't it? You can see that they're not 100% fit, struggling to get around, but the class that they possess still means that they're having an impact.
Well, just when I was thinking this match was going in the same direction as round 16, with a runaway Manly win in the second half, it's not happening. We've got 19 minutes to go, and Manly in front by 2.
And of course,
incredibly, 2 tries to 0 in their favour.
And the Roosters, with the scoreline being the way it is, are getting confidence from the fact that getting late into this game, they are still within striking distance. They're not having a great deal of success getting through the line, although this man does exactly that. Adrian Lamb on to Peter Clark. If they get to the other end and put a bomb up, all of a sudden it's a lottery and they could grab a result.
This is Paul Dunn. The Roosters mounting an attack. This is the last. Ridge as safe as a bank. Takes a thumping from Walker. And Ridge is down.
I think the initial contact was from Brad Fittler. Fittler didn't miss. Walker came in after. Well, I'll call on somebody else to play the football. There's Fittler leading the charge. They both arrived together and sandwiched him.
Daniel Gutner, faced with the prospect initially of taking it out. Mick Kosef, his legs cut from underneath him by Ricketson. Sadaras pushing away from one, getting away from Ricketson, pulled down around the legs. 5 gone for Manly. The kick out, Ridge, apparently recovered. Cleary looking for Junee, running into the cordon of defenders. Singh, Junee. His father, of course, played for both these clubs. Halfway line. Iro. 10 minutes in the bin. Has expired 5 minutes ago. Iro's got some. Fittler! Fittler! Heading for the corner! Fittler! Pulled down about a metre away. He scores! Brad Fittler has scored from the play the ball.
Well, unbelievable stuff. Brad Fittler, we've just pointed out, there's no way he's 100% fit, but he's dropped the hip. He's got rid of Cliff Lyons. He's got into the clear. Matthew Ridge has come up with a try saver. And then the quick thinking from the Australian captain. Bang, gets rid of Lyons. Gets the big fend out. Thought he was away from Ridge, but Ridge did a marvellous job to put him down. Hopewadi came in. And when Matthew Ridge was slow to get up, Brad Fittler put the ball down, kicked it forward, and scored the try.
You just saw a perfect example there of how not to tackle with Cliff Lyons getting his head on the wrong side. And from here, very smart thinking. He moves away and just goes bang, plants it down. Oh, he's a legend, Brad Fittler. Great player.
Yeah, the problem there for Manly was the fact with Fittler going sideways, both the 2 players in front of him, neither were a marker. He was able to have a passage to kick through. Daniel Gardner was one. I think Hopewadi may have been the other. Just made the task a little bit easier to get the ball into the in-goal area. And Fittler capitalised 100%.
Oh, boy. What an effort. Those close to the Roosters club, they know how much pain this man is in. Brad Fittler, now Ivan Cleary. From 2 metres in from touch, it looks okay, and he's got it. Cleary has kicked another one. 14-10. Moving. At the deep, restart for Dunn. Cop that. And Dunn can't get up. Kosef got him. The old Fox is... I think he might have been feigning a bit of grand final and finals experience coming through with Paul Dunn. I hope I'm right.
No, I always thought the idea was not to let the opposition know that you've been hurt.
I thought he might be soaking up some time. No need to rush anymore. Clark falling awkwardly. The kick for Walker. I tell you what, he's been magnificent today, Andrew Walker. His kicking game has been superb. His defence has been great as Ridge gets back into the field of play.
Yeah, there is Walker as following up his kick again. That was the perfect set of 6 to follow up the try being scored.
Now look at them. They've lifted the boys from Bondi. Innes. The last thing Manly needed was to give them a sniff of the leaderboard. Sedaris. Cunningham halfway through. 25 out, 5 gone. Indecision. Pass was forward. Play on, says the referee. Moore gets a kick in. Straight to Ivan Cleary. Jorgensen's going with him. He's running to Judy's wing.
Things falling apart for the Eagles, but it's all through this great Roosters defence.
And the fact that Andrew Walker is able to pick up 50 and 60 on the fly. Neil Tierney not far from coming back on. They're still able to play good field position because his kicking game is so long, and they are going into the breeze.
Now, the destroyer. Oh! Adrian Lamb.
Oh, I saw Ruben Ricky coming again.
Paul Dunn. Well, the sin bin has played a major part in this game so far. Ridge going up above them. Spectacular stuff. Neil Tierney coming back from the bin, but Mark Carroll takes his place. So Manly's back to 13. They had a try scored on them while they were down to 12. As did Sydney City, while they were down to 12. Carroll with his first touch since coming off the bench again. Sedaris. Paul Dunn grabbing him by the collar. Jim goes again. That is going to just make the dead ball line. Ooh, they're deep here. I think they're the maximum 11 metres here and at Parramatta. You've got to be doubly alert on the in-goal width at headquarters. 25 out from his line, Fiddler. Singh.
Good work here from Matt Singh. Jorgensen and Juni have done a similar job in this second half. Now Sean Garlick finds an extra 6 or 7 metres, takes it 43 out. And another good set of 6 here means that Andrew Walker will again drive the ball down towards the Manly try line.
Adrian Lamb. His captain to dummy half. Then the kicker. Walker.
It's been touched.
Been touched in flight. Touched in flight. And Elsgood it is, who is tackled 12 metres out from his own line. Danny Moore. Garlick underneath. Millard over the top. 20-metre line. 14-10. Sydney City. Kossev unloading to promote for Ridge. And then Carroll and then Tuvey. Shoulder high, says the referee, as Tuvey makes a scamper midfield. To the 40-metre line. And inside 10 minutes now, Carroll. Pulled down by Millard. Penalty goes to Manly. He got them inside the 10, the Roosters.
Plenty of urgency in the Manly play now. Very, very quick play, the balls. Almost not giving the Roosters any chance of getting back the 10.
This is where they desperately need the big guns to fire. Lyons, Menzies and Gartner.
Played by Carroll for Sidaris to go away to the left. Through Kossev and in for Cunningham. 18 metres out from the line. Kossev. Walker. Millard. Singh. 3 in the tackle. Sidaris back for Tuvey. Then for Lyons. Dummies for Menzies. Dummies twice for Menzies, and then the ball rolls back. And a penalty has gone to Manly. He's ruled that the Roosters were inside the 10 and he was playing in advantage.
Well, another enormous call here from Paul McLean. Tim Madison had cleaned up the loose pass thrown by Cliff Lyons. This is something like 18 tackles in a row now that the Roosters are going to have to absorb. Can they do it?
Daniel Gardner got the pass away and they touched the ball. He should restart the tackle count, but it's Carroll with it now. Makes no difference really. Tuvey. Sidaris. Lyons. Holding it back for Menzies. Menzies is so close.
Oh, Luke Ricketson coming over the top. Another great effort on Menzies.
Sidaris sweeps it away for Carroll. Oh, it's Innes. Innes has run off a Clippy Lyons path. Craig Innes has levelled the score.
Too much possession. Cliff Lyons, he's thrown a couple of shockers lately, but not this one. Beautiful little ball. There was 2 on 1 out wide. Darren Juni staying out with his man, and Craig Innes. He knew that he had to bring the ball around closer to the post, and he did a marvellous job in doing so. Ridge hasn't kicked well today, but he'll appreciate this effort from Innes.
No, you can't blame the East defence for that because they were simply outnumbered. And with Cliff Lyons weaving his magic, there was nothing they could do about that at all. A simple case of just hit the gap for Craig Innes. He's had a great season.
What about the second penalty? Tim Madison had the football, all the pressure was off. The referee said he'd played advantage, none to the Manly team, awarded the penalty.
Ridge then converts. 16 points to 14. Manly back in charge. Cliffy Lyons drew them, held it back. Precisely at the right time. He sent Craig Innes in to score. And Steve Rhodes were drawing to the end of the quarterfinals, and the weekend has been highlighted by the closeness of the scoreboard.
Well, it was going to take an individual brilliant player like Cliffy Lyons to pull something out for Manly. Eastern Suburbs or Sydney City was simply out-enthusing the Manly side at that time, but we'll see how they respond to that try now.
Well, Manly really responded to the fact they were behind on the scoreboard. You could see a noticeable lift in the speed of the play of the ball, the urgency in their play. They really almost made it a physical impossibility for the Roosters to get back 10 and to get up and defend. And Sidaris was outstanding in that department.
Ridge now. Charged down by Garlick. They're leading the race easily. Oh, this is going to be... No, it's not forced. He's been caught in goal. He threw the ball forward. Well, this is going to be a penalty. Surely he's got to give a penalty. What's he going to do?
The drop out.
It's a drop out. It was charged out. It was touched by the Manly player, forced in the in-goal area. He's ruled that Regon wasn't interfered with. Let's have a look if Regon's onside.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Danny Moore throwing the ball forward deliberately. Regon led easily. Did he get a fair go? Moore doesn't force the ball. The ball is still in play now. Watch him. He throws the ball forward, and there is a penalty provision for that.
Oh, I can't believe he tried to throw the pass.
Well, the only thing I can suggest is he felt that he didn't throw it forward deliberately. The other thing is, Regon, did he get a fair go?
I don't know. Who knows? All I know is we've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. A 2-point margin, and the Roosters on the attack.
Well, I've got to say to you, I would have thought it would have been a penalty to the Roosters for the ball being deliberately thrown forward in your own in goal. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive there's a rule there that says that. Fittler.
Last tackle.
10 metres out. The last tackle. A big finish coming up. Lamb across. And John Hopewadi safely with the ball for Manly.
Oh, what a take. Nearly the play of the day from John Hopewadi. Bombarded by 3 Roosters, pouring down upon him, and he's taken it beautifully.
I don't know if I can explain this, but I don't think Danny Moore threw the ball forward deliberately. I think he got contorted trying to throw the pass, and it ended up going forward.
I know what you're trying to say.
That makes fun of us.
Thank God I do. Sedaris. Lions. Sedaris. Gardner. Daniel Gardner tackled 42 metres out. Lions on 5. Reg kicks in front and finds the line. That's what they want to do, Manly, now. Slow it down. Let's get ourselves organised.
Well, this has been the most intriguing game. We've seen 3 unbelievable matches leading into this one, but the intrigue in this game has been something else. The penalties that have been awarded, the times they've been awarded, the rulings that you looked and said, well, hang on, what is McLean going to do in this situation? I think if either team that gets beaten in this game are going to say, well, hang on, we should have won this.
Clark and Jorgensen combined. Incidentally, reserve grade went to Cronulla today, and that was in the match against Brisbane, and Auckland in another reserve grade match. They defeated Sydney City. Just for the benefit of those fans, Cronulla and Auckland, the winners in reserve grade. Julian Troy. Garlick's kick finds 2 chasers for the Roosters and 1 defender for Manly, who now becomes the attacker. John Hopewadi. And he's lost the ball. It's a penalty to Manly.
Gee, it's a bad rule.
It's a shocking rule.
It's a terrible rule.
Like I said yesterday, at the end of the match between St George and Canberra, if I was down by 2 in an attacking position, I would take the chance of giving the football to the opposition and say that it had been stripped, which to me is totally against the laws and the ethics of rugby league. But the capacity is there to do so.
Carroll to play it on the halfway line. We're in the dying seconds, only 35 of them remaining. But a stunning reminder here today and last night that this competition is not one for just two sides, 2 clubs to decide. Brisbane felt it last night. Manly almost feeling it today. The crowd counting it out. The last play of the day. And there it is, full time. Manly has beaten Sydney City convincingly as far as tries were concerned. Papawati Menzies and Innes got the tries. Ridge kicked 2 from 4. The scoreboard doesn't read that convincing. 2 points the margin, the same as was the margin in tries. Fittler got the try for Sydney City. Cleary, a magnificent performance, 5 from 5. So 16 points to 14. Manly, the minor premiers, defeating the Sydney City Roosters at the end of the 4th quarter final. Marvellous game of football. In fact, an incredible weekend of rugby league. Here's a break, and then we're back to Rugby League headquarters.
4 quarterfinals this weekend has seen a dramatic victory to Manly over the Sydney City Roosters, 16 points to 14. In the end, 3 tries to 1, with Hopewati, Menzies and Innes scoring tries. Matthew Ridge, an off day with the boot, kicked 2 from 4. While for the Roosters, Brad Fittler was their sole try scorer, and Ivan Cleary, perfect, 5 from 5. Plenty of good performances this afternoon in what was a great game of rugby league, but the man we chose as the best has taken out our Man of the Match award, and is with Steve Roach.
Well, the $1,000 Man of the Match for Manly goes to Daniel Gartner. Daniel, they made you play every inch of the way, the Sydney City side.
Yeah, their forwards kept coming forward. They're not a no-name bunch. They're a really good bunch of good forwards there, so they kept coming the whole day, and we just found ourselves going backwards and backwards, but we stuck at it, so I think we're pretty happy anyway.
You had a pretty comfortable lead. They got back into the game, then their tails really lifted.
Yeah, well, that's what they can do. Any side lives to play Manly. A lot of them do anyway, but they probably thought they were considered the underdogs, and they're just going to give it every shot they got, and they played great.
And how would you rate that performance by Manly leading into the rest of the semi-finals and probably the grand final?
I think the players will be happy with some aspects, but our ball control, a couple of silly mistakes just put us under pressure. We really don't need that, so we've got a little bit to work on.
OK, mate, congratulations. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Block. Thanks, Channel 9.
Another marvellous performance from Daniel Gartner. Just got the award in front of Jim Sedaris, and for the Roosters, Brad Fittler and Andrew Walker were exceptional. Well, Paul, what did you think?
I thought it was a great game, Pete, marred by some dubious decisions from referee McBlain. They'll be talking about them for a few days, but not to worry. Manly, a fair effort from them. Bozo, I think, will be a bit dirty with their indisciplined play with mistakes, and Phil Gould's entitled to be very proud of his players. They hung in there, decimated through injuries, and really, they played pretty good. Well, speaking of Bob Fulton, he'll obviously be very relieved, and Andrew Voss is now speaking with the Manly coach.
Well, Bob, in finals football, you're delighted with any win, but how do you as coach, Bob Fulton, rate that performance?
Well, I suppose you look at the tries that were scored by Manly, and we came up with 3 to their 1, and, Freddie made a good line break, one of their few of the game, and then obviously tapped the ball forward and dived over for, a very professional try from a very, very good football player. But from their point of view, I mean, maybe Adrian Land made a bit of a breakdown this western side, but we made any number against them. I was comfortable with that. I mean, if we would have converted the tries, I mean, Matthew very rarely has an off day with the boot, but unfortunately today he did. We could have been, well out of danger. But they kept on coming at us, and their enthusiasm jumped heaps when Freddie went over. But we just lifted a little bit, and Craig Innes got over, which was that's what it's all about. There's been some fundamental errors made by a lot of the sides in the semi-final series so far, and we're one of them.
Bob, enjoy the week off, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Cheers, thanks, Vossi.